Hey guys, I'm going to do another review today on a 2010 C6 Corvette Grand Sport. This is a 3LT Grand Sport with manual transmission, Z51 suspension package, fully loaded car in machine silver. It's got the heritage package with the stripes and all the Grand Sport insignia. If any of you guys know, the Grand Sport is pretty much like a Z06 without the Z06 LS7 motor, like from the C6 generation. So it has the wider body, it has the bigger brakes, the suspension, it has the chrome-plated, 5-spoke alloy wheels. And like I said, these cars are absolutely great values. This is a good friend of mine's car and a customer's car. And we just got the car all detailed up and he's ready to move on with it. We're going to put the car for sale because he just doesn't use it. It has 9,000 original miles. It's collector owned, never tracked, never abused. It is absolutely flawless. So I'm going to do a video on the exterior of the car, go over the interior, and then we're going to do a short drive, and I'm going to give you some feedback on these because, like I said, the C7 came out and everybody thinks that it's that much of a superior car. And to be honest with you, I personally prefer the styling of this C6 version a lot better than the C7. And there's a couple of differences between the C6 and C7, but I don't think they're enough to justify, $80,000 or $100,000 to buy when you could pick up a car like this, between like $40,000 to $45,000 on the pre-owned market. So I'm going to grab the camera off the tripod, I'm going to do a walk around, and I'm going to show you some of the features that I think are outstanding on this car. Alright guys, we're going to look at the design of the car from the side. If you just look at the styling, it's very, very Corvette. If anybody knows like the heritage and the history of the Corvette, with the fender vents, the hash marks on the fender with the heritage package, it's got the brake cooling vent on the lower quarter panel. Overall, this is a really, really good looking car. And I even love the wheels in the car. The 5-spoke wheels in this thing really, really make this car, in my opinion, look amazing. Compared to the alloy wheels that you get on a C7, whether it's a C51 or any of the other packages, they're going with the black, high gloss black wheels. And, they have like a really weak offset, especially in the rear of the cars. The wheels just look so rinky-dink on like a C7. But this car has like a really nice, heritage, authentic Corvette style. It's got a muscular look. It still looks modern. It doesn't look dated. It really doesn't. When you look at the two cars, side by side, the C7 has a lot more body lines that they put into it, but, from a design element, I don't think it actually enhanced the style of the car. I don't really think the C7 has a lot of heritage in the design of the car. As far as everybody hates the taillights. There's a ton of, body creases in the design of the car going down the middle of the car. And like I said, it's got like a weird, narrow wedge shape to it. So a lot of people love it, and a lot of people hate it. But to be honest with you, I prefer the C6 wide body, whether it's a Grand Sport or it's a Z06. To be honest with you, that's just what I like aesthetically. And the cars are so similar in the componentry that I just think that, these cars should be on your radar. If you're interested in a Corvette and you want a good bang for the buck, this is an outstanding car. So, like I said, you can see, I'm going to zoom up to the wheels. Alright, so this car is running a typical Corvette stagger with the wheel and tire package. It's got an 18-inch wheel in the front with a 19 in the rear, and it gives it that, that nice raked high-performance look. And that's really cool. Not many car companies are doing that anymore with the staggered sizes front and rear, but Corvette was one of the first that I know of that has been doing it, and they've been doing it for a long time, and they seem to pull it off really, really well. Alright, I'm just going to do a quick walk around. This car is absolutely impeccable. There's not a scratch. There's not a blemish on the paint. These are the original tires. This is, kept in a climate-controlled garage. Just look at it. We just, color corrected it and detailed it. It's like a brand new car. And you can just see, the wide body effect on this car. It's just so muscular. It looks so badass. These are the vents that I was telling you about. Those things just look killer. Absolutely killer. And like I said, you don't get that effect, on the C7. You don't get this line of the front fender that's very reminiscent of like the C3 Stingrays, from back in the 70s and 80s. And that was just an iconic Corvette feature. It's got, xenon lights top and bottom. It's got a lower front spoiler air dam that we added on, and it's carbon fiber. and it has a structural brace that we put on it, you know, years ago. I mean, it's just a sharp car. It really is. All the way around, it's just a sharp car. And you can see the body line as it continues through the scallop in the roof. All right, we're going to go into the interior now. And this has the two-tone interior, which is like the charcoal black with like the slate gray. And it's a fully optioned car with navigation. It's got the simulated carbon fiber trim, power seats, heated seats. It also has the two tops, the glass roof and the painted roof, which is also an option. I mean, like when you're looking at this interior, like I said, yeah, it's not as nice as like a C7 in a couple of ways, but the C7, even though you could get like a 3LT, you know, with the leather wrap dash and doors, it's still not that big of a departure because, you know, if you want, you could pick one of these cars up and you could have an upholstery shop, you know, leather wrap your dash and doors and make it look a hell of a lot nicer than a C7, in my opinion. And I've done quite a few of those cars over the years, you know, full-blown custom interiors. And, you know, you could take the steering wheel off, you know, get an aftermarket one with a flat bottom, you know, resculpted ergonomic grips, leather wrap the airbag, you know, do it all up. And this is one hell of a value, it really is. So just wanted to show you, you know, a quick walk around. And this is part of the heritage package, the insignia on the headrest. And you can just look at the detail. I mean, there's no scratches anywhere on this car. You know, all the trim on the bottom, it's like flawless. There's like no wear on the seats. I mean, you could just see it. It's like a brand new car. A 9,000 mile original owner, collector car owned, 2010 3LT Corvette Grand Sport. So we're gonna pop the hatch. I just want to show you. You know, it does have a little bit of storage space. You could go, you know, on a weekend trip and throw, you know, 2 or 3 suitcases in the back as long as you don't overload it too much. You know, you got your cargo mat. You got your privacy net here. But overall, like I said, you know, it's not a daily driver car, but it's also not just, this car shouldn't just be left, you know, to Sunday drives. This car, you know, especially now that, you know, the depreciation pretty much settled in on these cars, this is a car you pick up and you drive it, you enjoy it. If you want to modify it, so be it. Take it to the track. Do whatever you want for it. And the aftermarket support of these cars is absolutely outstanding. I mean, look at the engine compartment. This has the LS3. I mean, this car is like new. And this has the dry sump oil system like the Z06 as well. So really the difference between this car and a C6 Z06 is really the engine, between the LS3 and the LS7. You know, and of course there's going to be a price tag on that for whoever wants it. But the cool thing about the Grand Sport is that this car is very, very balanced as far as the handling, the braking, and the power delivery. I mean, like if any of you guys, you know, drove like a new C7 Z06, you know how scary those cars are. The back end is all over the track, all over the street when you're getting on it hard. And it just makes the car unenjoyable. So you don't need 650 horsepower in a light, small car like this. So I like the Grand Sports. I like normally aspirated power. And I just think it becomes a more balanced, more usable car where it's not going to frighten you if you're going to go on some backcountry roads or do a track day with the car. And this car also has hydraulic steering. So the steering on this car is going to feel totally different than on like a C7 with the electronic EPS systems. And I like hydraulic steering. You just get, you know, really good feedback with them. And this car has transversely mounted leaf springs, front and rear, which is an old design. They've been using that for a very, very long time, and they do it for packaging. I mean, you could just rip all that suspension stuff out and do like a Penske or an Eibach triple adjustable coilover, or even FOT Racing, or you know, there's a lot of aftermarket stuff out there. And you could turn this thing into an absolute track monster, and you would have a hell of a lot of fun with it. And it's affordable, it's easy to maintain, parts are readily available. You just can't go wrong with one of these cars. So we're going to strap the camera inside. We're going to do a quick drive around. I'm going to give you some feedback as far as how it rides, how it handles, build quality, and everything in between. So stay tuned. All right, guys, we just got the camera mounted, and we're going to do a quick drive of the C6 Grand Sport. First thing I notice is the clutch pedal is significantly harder than my GT350. I haven't driven one of these cars in a while, so I can't remember how these felt, but I did have a 5th gen Camaro, and it had a very similar clutch engagement. And you know, the fluid on the car has been changed, it's been bled out many times. It's just a characteristic of this car. And the first thing I noticed too is on a C7, driving on local roads, the steering is like really light. Almost to the fact that it feels like over-assisted, like a 1970s Cadillac. And with the hydraulic steering on this car, it just feels balanced, it feels neutral. I mean, I'm not crazy about the steering wheel, but you know, that's something that could be changed. You know, $400 or $500, you buy a new steering wheel, Alcantara Rapid or something, and you know, a little bit smaller, and it would be good to go. I'm going to be honest with you, from when I drove Tony's the Z06 with the Z07 package, this car feels more solid. Well, I have no idea. His car rattled like crazy. The whole car shook apart.
And you're talking about a $100,000 car.
Yeah, and that's why he hated it. He went back to a GT3. So he says, "Here, come pick the car up at the golf club." And I took the car for the day, and I couldn't wait to get rid of it. I says, "What a fucking disappointing car." I was very disappointed in that car. And like I said, for a car that's going on 8 years old, you know, with transverse leaf springs, it doesn't have adaptive shocks. I mean, the car feels good. This is a good car. Transmission is absolutely outstanding on these cars. I mean, it's so much better than like a Camaro or other cars of this generation. It's just smoother. Of course, the exhaust sounds great. That's like a must on any of these cars. You just got to change the exhaust. And that's what I love about like a normally aspirated LS motor. You know, it's got that torque down low. And that's why Chevrolet kind of sticks with this architecture all these years, because it works and customers like it. But I think the future of this is going to be different. And I think they're going to switch to a dual overhead cam engine, possibly with turbochargers, in the new generation of the Corvette that's supposed to be rear engine. I don't know. So we'll have to see what's going to come out from General Motors. I'm sure they have something up their sleeve. Yeah, the clutch just takes getting a little used to, because, I mean, my car is so easy to drive. I mean, this feels like it has a heavy-duty clutch assembly in it. It doesn't feel like it's, you know, a regular car. And we're hitting some pretty bad roads, and, you know, there's no cowl shake. You know, the roof is not making noises the way the C7 Z06 was when I had it. And I'm not going to kill the car. I'm just not driving it like that. We spent, you know, a good part of the earlier in the day detailing it and cleaning it up, so I'm not going to trash it. And the roads are a little damp because it rained all night. But I just want to give you guys a little bit of a review. I mean, the steering feedback, I love it. Absolutely love it. And that's one of the most important things in any car, you know, whether it's a sports car or, you know, even a regular daily driver car, is the steering feedback. You know, to me, steering feedback is like the most critical thing in a car. You got good steering, you know, you definitely have a good suspension, good brakes. It just makes a, you know, a full, all-around good car. And we're cruising at 70. There's no drone from the course exhaust. No, that's why you put it on, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we were going to do the Borla attack on this, and you're like, no, it's going to be too loud. And it's got, you know, look at that, we're at 70, we're in, you know, third gear. We got plenty of passing power. And the cool thing about the LS motor, you can just like leave it in a lower gear and ride it out. You know, their sweet spot is between 4,000 and 5,000 as far as getting your peak power. And the car feels good.
I love that rumble.
Yeah, the rumble's nice. steering is so communicative in this car. Like, you really can feel everything that's going on in the front of this car with the front tires, and that's what I love about it. You know, it's like a real sports car feel. It's not over dampened and over isolated like on a lot of cars today that have electronic power steering. You don't really know what's going on in the front. And BMWs, like the M cars, they have like horrible steering feedback today. It's just terrible. You can't even see what's going on. They're just crazy. I mean, the car cruises at 80. Literally, it really does. I mean, that's the sweet spot. Now, like when I was doing the review on the Infinity that we have, that car cruises at 80, depending on the gearing and the power delivery. And the same thing with this car. It's a sweet spot. Yeah. Oh, this is a good car. So if any of you guys are like, you know, looking to pick up a Vet, you always wanted a Vet, maybe you're, you know, considering a Viper. You know, the Viper, yeah, it's a cool car, but this is a more practical car. It's a more usable car in all respects. I mean, the Viper, it's not the greatest handling car. You know, I've been in quite a few of those. I've been in the Viper ACRs on the track. They're fucking dangerous. And if you want to, you know, get your life scared out of you, go ahead, go get a Viper. But yeah, no, this car is good, man. It really is. I mean, Paul, what is the cost of a C7 Grand Sport right now? Like a fully loaded 3LT?
77, 78.
So you're at like 80 grand to get a C7 version of this car. And I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, I like the look of this car better, and I think it's a better value. It really is. I mean, if you don't like any of this material, I mean, this is not terrible, but if you want, you just, you know, bring it to a trim shop, you know, put 7 grand into the interior, and, you know, now you're up to snuff. You know, it's, you know, make it a more modern, higher end, you know, sports car. Another thing I noticed too is the weight distribution in this car is so damn good, and you can feel it as soon as you get, you know, driving it for about 10 minutes. It just feels balanced. You know, it doesn't feel nose heavy, doesn't feel tail happy. It just feels balanced. The C7 Z06, the back of that car is so loose, and there's no traction that in the hands of the wrong person, you're gonna have a really bad day one day if you fly off the road or fly off the racetrack. And one of my other clients, he had one and he was trying to get rid of it. He was looking to give it to me for 70 grand until he gave it to me for the day, and I says, no thank you. I said, I'll take the GT350 any day over that. Yeah, it's really hard to get used to the clutch, but the car drives great. It really does. I mean, it's straight as an arrow. There's like no tram lining in the front suspension, you know, with the tires. Of course, because we altered the alignment settings from factory, but yeah, I'm enjoying this a lot more than the C7s that I've driven. I don't know, it's just weird. I don't like electric steering on some cars, and I'm not crazy about it on the new Corvettes. So guys, this car is going to be for sale. If anybody has interest in it, you know, send me an email direct and I'll put you in touch with the owner and you guys can talk about it. If you want to come inspect it, just, you know, reach out to me. We can arrange it. I mean, this is an awesome car. Good driving car, great looking car, and it's a great value. If you got 40 grand to spend and you're looking for a Corvette, then this is the one you want.
I love how, of course, it gets quiet in higher gears.
Yeah, the Corsa exhaust was great idea. I mean, you know, for a car you want to take out and not blow your ears off, especially when you pull the roof off. There's no vibrations in the front end, no steering wheel shimmy. And as soon as the road gets straight, I'm going to let go, and you're going to see the car's going to just track straight. This has the Goodyear, what, the F1 supercar tires? There's Goodyears on this car. Not my favorite tire, but you know, apparently that's what comes on a lot of Corvettes.
Oh, sure.
We wanted to film this video with the roof removed, but the wind noise is just going to blow out the audio. I'll crack the windows a little. No, it's too loud. You got that deceleration pop, it's pretty cool. The pop of my Shelby is so obnoxious, I love it. This is like so subtle, it's like, what a difference. I only got into like 4th gear, and I had to force it into 4th gear. I mean, you could just drive this thing in, you know, the first 3 gears, for the most part, unless you're going on a long trip. You know, you throw it into your overdrives, but you don't really need it. All right, here's a speed bump here. Let's see how it does. I mean, it hits it hard, but it didn't hurt my back. Look at that. I mean, the car just stays straight. Now I'm starting to hear a little creaks from the top, but you know, that's normal. Oh man, the grip and the balance, this thing is freaking awesome. This is a great car. If I had room for it, I would just buy it off you. I just have too many cars. Way too many cars. I really would. I love this car. If I bought it off you, I would just redo the whole interior in leather. Maybe like dark red or something. Do something really wild. And I would do the calipers in red. And if you guys need more power, you know, if the power in the LS3 is not enough, $6,000 will get you about another 200 horsepower with like either an Edelbrock E4 supercharger kit, you know, with a warranty, or you can do a Magnuson, you can do a Whipple. I put a couple of Whipples on these, and you know, they're crazy. But to be honest with you, I don't like forced induction on these cars. I just think the power delivery comes on so strong, and if you're going through some country roads with a lot of twisties, or you're on a racetrack, if that power hits at the wrong time, you're going to have a hard time coping with it in the traction. I like normally aspirated cars. Always did. Whatever road noise we have, it's coming from the tires. They're just a noisy tire.
Run flats.
Yeah, all the run flats. Yeah. You know my theory on run flats. But think about it, like for this car to have run flats, and we're hitting some bad bumps, it's not riding to the point where it's throwing me out of the seat. You know, very surprising, right?
Yes.
You know, and that's because this car is so stiff. It's got such a stiff chassis. You know, a lot of aluminum is used in this car. The whole structure, suspension, everything. I mean, this is GM's flagship. It really is. You know, it always was considered the affordable American sports car. And I mean, if you look at the racing, you know, results of these cars in, you know, Le Mans and in the GT2 class, you know, Pratt and Miller has been, you know, kicking ass for how many years at the C6 platform, and now at the C7 platform. So these are proven cars. They really are. I mean, when you look at racing stats and you look at who's at the top of the top 3 finishing, it's always going to be Corvette, Porsche, and Ferrari. And it's usually between Porsche and Corvette. Those are the 2 top dogs in the GT2 class. And there's a reason for that. These are good cars. And with some track prep and a little bit of work, these things are monsters on the racetrack. They really are. And I'm actually glad this car doesn't have a magnetic suspension, because it'll let you change, you know, if you want to go to an aftermarket, you don't have to worry about the modules tripping out and, and all of that stuff. You could just rip the transverse leaf springs out and the shocks and put, you know, a nice triple adjustable coil over, corner balance the car, you know, dial in the alignment whatever way you want it, and you have one hell of a canyon carver, that's for sure. Traffic. Oh, God. I tell you, now I'm in this car for a little while, I feel comfortable.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm used to it now. That's all it takes. I mean, you know, I don't get to drive something like this every day. I'm so used to my other cars, but you know, this is a car you got to drive. This doesn't have all the electronic gizmos. And getting this car in an automatic is like, ugh. I don't know. I just don't think GM automatics are good. I mean, the 6-speed automatic that they had, you know, back in this generation, I think was terrible. The 8-speed, I think, is also terrible. The 10-speed in the ZL1 and, you know, the newer car is supposed to be outstanding. I haven't driven one of those yet, so I can't really comment. But the 6-speed and the 8-speed, I wasn't a fan of them. Yeah, the car corner's really, really flat. Really, really flat cornering. There's like no roll. There's no nervousness in the back end of this car. I mean, the grip, the feedback in the steering, I mean, that's a sharp turn right there. Here's another one, you know. Yeah, the car feels great. So guys, that's going to conclude our drive video of the 2010 C6 Corvette Grand Sport 3LT. If you guys got any questions or comments, you know, post them in the video below. If anybody out there in the World Wide Web is interested in a pristine C6 Grand Sport that is absolutely immaculate, flawless in this option package and color combo, you know, send me an email direct, autofanatic@yahoo.com, and I will put you in touch with the owner of this car. And stay tuned. I mean, we're probably going to put it up on eBay for him in about a week, and you guys can bid and, you know, do what you want to do with that. So hope you guys had a great day, and I'll see you guys soon. Thanks.